Listen to me carefully. That heaviness pressing down on your chest right now, that exhaustion that sleep can't fix, that burden that makes you wonder why everything feels so much harder for you than everyone else, it's not in your head. You're not broken. You're not cursed. You're chosen. And what you're carrying is the weight of a divine assignment that would crush ordinary people. While others are living for weekend plans and social media validation, you're wrestling with purpose at 3 a.m. While they're comfortable in their routines, you're being stretched, tested, and refined in ways that don't make sense to the natural mind. This isn't punishment. This is preparation. The calling on your life is heavier than you think because the impact you're designed to make is bigger than you can currently imagine. God doesn't assign small people to big missions. He assigns obedient people to big missions. And right now, in this moment, you need to understand something crucial. The weight you feel is proportional to the power you carry. The enemy wouldn't attack you this hard if you weren't a legitimate threat to his kingdom. The resistance you're experiencing is proof that you're moving in the right direction. If this message is resonating with your spirit right now, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You didn't find this video by accident. There are things you need to hear, and I don't want you to miss a single revelation meant for your journey. And if God is speaking to you through this content, consider leaving a super thanks. Your support allows me to continue creating these messages that strengthen and encourage the chosen, ones who are fighting battles nobody sees. You see, the problem isn't that your calling is too heavy. The problem is that you've been trying to carry it with human strength. You've been relying on your own understanding, your own energy, your own resources, and that was never the design. Isaiah 40:31 promises us, "But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint." The calling is heavy, yes, but the one who called you is mighty, and he's never assigned you something without already equipping you with everything you need to fulfill it. The weight you're feeling right now, it's not meant to break you. It's meant to position you. It's meant to separate you from the crowd, to isolate you for consecration, to prepare you for a dimension of glory that requires this exact level of pressure. There's a reason you feel so alone right now. There's a reason your circle has become smaller. Your friendships have shifted, and you can't relate to the people you used to be close to anymore. The calling on your life is heavier than you think because it requires a level of separation that most people will never understand. Moses spent 40 years in the wilderness before God used him to deliver an entire nation. Joseph spent years in a pit and then a prison before he stood before Pharaoh. David was anointed king but lived in caves, running from Saul, before he ever wore a crown. Paul went into Arabia for 3 years after his encounter with Christ before he began his ministry. Do you see the pattern? God isolates who he's about to elevate. He separates who he's about to use significantly. And if you're in a season where it feels like everyone has left, where invitations have dried up, where you're spending more time alone than ever before, you're not being punished. You're being prepared. The isolation isn't rejection, it's protection. God is removing people who would contaminate your calling with their opinions, their fears, their limitations, and their unbelief. He's clearing out relationships that would drain the anointing. He's building in you. He's creating space for him to speak without the interference of voices that don't carry his frequency. Chosen one, the weight of your calling requires conversations that most people aren't qualified to have with you. It requires a level of faith that your old friends would mock. It requires obedience that looks like foolishness to the natural mind. And God, in his wisdom and love, is keeping you away from environments that would dilute what he's doing in you. This isolation is temporary, but it's necessary. You're not being hidden because you're insignificant. You're being hidden because you're invaluable. You're in the secret place, the place where champions are made, where character is built, where your calling is being downloaded into your spirit line by line, precept upon precept. Let me tell you something that might sting at first, but will ultimately set you free. Your pain has purpose. Every betrayal you survived, every heartbreak that nearly destroyed you, every loss that brought you to your knees. It wasn't random. It was preparation. The calling you carry is heavier than you think because it's designed to reach people in deep pain. And you cannot lead people out of a pit you've never been in. Your suffering qualifies you for your assignment. Your scars authenticate your message. Your testimony gives you authority in realms where religious knowledge has no power. 2 Corinthians 1:4 tells us that God comforts us in all our tribulation, that we may be able to comfort them which are in any trouble by the comfort wherewith we ourselves are comforted of God. Did you catch that? Your pain isn't just about you. It's about everyone you're going to help who's going through exactly what you went through. You thought that depression was trying to kill you, but God was developing compassion in you for people drowning in darkness. You thought that betrayal was just cruelty, but God was giving you discernment for your future assignments. You thought that financial struggle was a curse, but God was teaching you dependence on Him that will sustain you when He increases your territory. The weight of your calling includes the weight of your past. But here's the beautiful mystery. God wastes nothing. Every tear, every sleepless night, every moment you wanted to give up, but somehow kept going. It's all being woven into a testimony that will set captives free. Your mess is becoming your message. Your pain is becoming your platform. Your test is becoming your testimony. And the very things the enemy meant to destroy you with are the exact things God is going to use to establish your authority in the spirit realm. Here's a hard truth that chosen ones must accept. You will be misunderstood, misjudged, and misrepresented by people who don't have the spiritual eyes to see what God is doing in you. The calling you carry is heavier than you think because it comes with a burden of perception that can feel unbearable. People will call your obedience irresponsibility. They'll call your faith foolishness. They'll call your boundaries pride. They'll accuse you of changing when you're actually just becoming who you were always meant to be. And the painful part, some of these accusations will come from people you love, people you thought would support you, people who claim to know God but don't recognize His work in you. Jesus experienced this constantly. His own family thought He was out of His mind in Mark 3:21. The religious leaders who studied Scripture their whole lives called Him demon-possessed. His closest disciples misunderstood His mission right up until His resurrection. If the Son of God Himself was misunderstood, why would you expect anything different? The weight of being misunderstood is crushing because humans are wired for connection and belonging. We want to be seen, known, and understood. But your calling requires you to be okay with being misread by people who are reading you with natural eyes. You're operating in a spiritual dimension that the carnal mind cannot comprehend, and 1 Corinthians 2:14 confirms this. The natural man receiveth not the things of the Spirit of God, for they are foolishness unto him, neither can he know them, because they are spiritually discerned. You cannot make people understand what God hasn't revealed to them. You cannot force people to celebrate what they're not anointed to perceive, and you cannot shrink your calling to fit into their comprehension. Your assignment is not to be understood by everyone. It's to be obedient to the one who called you. Let them talk. Let them question. Let them judge. While they're busy analyzing you, you stay busy fulfilling your purpose. Their opinions don't change your assignment. Their misunderstanding doesn't cancel your calling. And their inability to see what God is doing doesn't make it any less real. The loneliest part of your calling is knowing that you're walking a path most people will never validate until they see the results. But chosen one, you weren't called to live for applause. You were called to live for impact, and sometimes the greatest impact comes from the places of deepest misunderstanding. Now let's talk about something that doesn't get discussed enough in feel-good spirituality. The calling you carry makes you a target. The heavier your assignment, the fiercer the opposition. And if you've been wondering why your life feels like a constant battlefield, it's because you're not fighting against flesh and blood. You're fighting against principalities and powers that recognize the threat you pose to the kingdom of darkness. Ephesians 6:12 isn't a metaphor. It's a military briefing. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. This is the reality of what you face every single day. That depression that hits you out of nowhere, spiritual attack, that sudden anxiety that grips you right before you're about to step into something significant, spiritual warfare. Those thoughts that tell you you're not enough, that you should quit, that God has forgotten you. Demonic assignments specifically designed to abort your calling before it fully manifests. The enemy studies you. He knows your triggers, your weaknesses, your insecurities. He knows exactly when to strike and exactly what weapons to use. And because your calling is heavier than most, the attacks against you are more sophisticated, more persistent, and more personalized than what average believers experience. But here's what the enemy doesn't want you to know. His attacks are confirmation of your authority. He wouldn't waste this much energy on someone who wasn't a legitimate threat. The very fact that you're under constant assault proves that you carry something he desperately wants to stop. Every attack is actually an acknowledgement of your power. Every scheme is proof of your significance. Every battle is evidence that you're positioned for a breakthrough that will damage his kingdom. The warfare is heavy because the victory you're carrying is massive. You don't get attacked for being insignificant. You get attacked for being dangerous. And chosen one, you are far more dangerous to the kingdom of darkness than you currently realize. That's why the warfare feels relentless. That's why you can't seem to catch a break. That's why the moment you overcome one thing, another thing shows up. But greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. The battle is already won. The victory is already secured. Your job is not to fight in your own strength, but to stand in the authority that's already been given to you through Christ. Put on the full armor of God daily, not as a ritual, but as a necessity. You're in a war, and your calling depends on you showing up as the warrior you were created to be. Here's something that will shift your entire perspective. The calling you carry is heavier than you think, because with every revelation comes responsibility. Every time God shows you something, downloads wisdom into your spirit, or opens your eyes to a truth, you become accountable for what you know. You can't unknow what God has revealed to you. You can't go back to ignorance once you've received insight. And you certainly can't live beneath the level of understanding He's given you without consequences. Luke 12:48 makes this clear. For unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall much be required. This is why your life got harder after you encountered God, not easier. This is why the more you grow spiritually, the heavier the burden feels. You're being entrusted with revelation that carries weight because it's meant to shift atmospheres, transform lives, and challenge systems. Every prophetic dream you receive comes with the responsibility to steward it properly. Every spiritual gift you operate in comes with the accountability to use it for His glory, not your gain. Every door God opens for you comes with the expectation that you'll walk through it with integrity, humility, and obedience. The revelation you carry about identity, purpose, spiritual warfare, and the kingdom, it's not just for you. It's for the people you're assigned to reach. And that's heavy, because you know that if you don't deliver what God has given you, someone somewhere will remain in bondage to a lie that your truth could have broken. You feel the weight of souls you haven't even met yet. You sense the urgency of a message you're still learning how to articulate. You carry the burden of knowing that your obedience or disobedience has ripple effects that extend far beyond your personal life. This is why you can't just relax like other people. This is why you can't turn off your mind. This is why you're always sensing, always discerning, always aware that there's more happening in the spiritual realm than what's visible in the natural. You've been given eyes to see and ears to hear, and that gift comes with a responsibility that most people will never understand. But don't despise the weight of this responsibility. Embrace it. It's a sign that God trusts you with more than surface-level assignments. It means you've been chosen to carry revelation that will literally change the trajectory of people's lives and destinies. Let's get brutally honest about something. The calling you carry will cost you everything you thought you wanted. It will require sacrifices that nobody warns you about, that nobody celebrates, and that nobody validates until years later, when the fruit becomes visible. You'll sacrifice relationships that no longer align with where God is taking you. You'll sacrifice comfort zones that feel safe but keep you stuck. You'll sacrifice the approval of people whose opinions used to matter to you. You'll sacrifice financial security to pursue obedience. You'll sacrifice sleep to pray through battles. You'll sacrifice your reputation to stand for truth. Abraham sacrificed his homeland. Moses sacrificed his position in Pharaoh's house. Esther sacrificed her safety. Paul sacrificed his status as a Pharisee. Jesus sacrificed everything. And if you're truly called, you will be asked to lay down things that other people get to keep. This is the part of the journey that separates the truly chosen from the merely interested. Because when God asks you to release something you love for something you can't yet see, your response reveals the authenticity of your surrender. Will you trust Him when the sacrifice feels too great? Will you obey when the cost seems unfair? The sacrifice is heavy because what you're building is eternal. You're not working for temporary applause or earthly rewards. You're laying up treasures in heaven. You're investing in a kingdom that will outlast every empire, every trend, every system that feels permanent right now. And here's the mystery. What feels like loss in the moment is actually gain in the spirit. Every sacrifice you make creates space for God to fill you with more of Himself. Every no to the world is a yes to His presence. Everything you release is replaced with something infinitely more valuable, even if you can't see it yet. The sacrifice is part of the sanctification process. It's how God separates you from the world system and consecrates you for His purposes. It's uncomfortable, it's painful, and it's necessary. But on the other side of every sacrifice is a new level of authority, a deeper level of intimacy with God, and a greater capacity to carry the weight of the calling He's placed on your life. One of the most frustrating aspects of carrying a heavy calling is that you can see the vision, but you can't speed up the process. You know where you're going, but you're stuck in the waiting, the preparation, the slow unfolding of what God promised. And that tension between the promise and the manifestation, it's excruciating. But here's what you need to understand. The calling you carry is heavier than you think because it requires a process that matches its magnitude. Small callings have short preparation periods. Big callings require extensive refining. And if God is taking His time with you, it's because He's building something in you that needs a solid foundation. Proverbs 4:18 says, "But the path of the just is as the shining light, that shineth more and more unto the perfect day." Notice, it says more and more, not all at once. Your calling unfolds progressively, not instantly. And every season you're in right now is necessary for the season you're going into. You can't rush character development. You can't microwave maturity. You can't skip the wilderness and still be prepared for the promised land. The process is designed to change you, not just position you. Because if God gave you the fullness of your calling right now with your current level of character, it would destroy you. Think about it. If Joseph had become second in command of Egypt right after his dream without the pit, without Potiphar's house, without the false accusation, without the prison, he wouldn't have had the wisdom, humility, or emotional intelligence to handle that level of power. The process wasn't punishment. It was preparation. The same is true for you. That job you didn't get, protection. That door that closed, redirection. That delay you're frustrated about, development. God is not withholding from you. He's working in you so that when the time comes, you'll be ready to carry what He's prepared for you. The process you're in is heavy because it's killing everything in you that can't go where you're going. It's burning off the impurities. It's strengthening your spiritual muscles. It's teaching you dependence on God that you'll need when He increases your influence and impact. Stop trying to rush what God is refining. Stop comparing your timeline to someone else's. Stop looking at where you should be and start embracing where you are. This season has a purpose and you're not stuck. You're being established. Now, after everything we've discussed, after talking about the weight, the isolation, the suffering, the misunderstanding, the warfare, the responsibility, the sacrifice, and the process, I want to leave you with this final truth. The glory that's coming is worth every single ounce of what you're carrying right now. Romans 8:18 promises, "For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us." Did you catch that? Not revealed to us, revealed in us. The glory isn't just something you'll witness. It's something you'll carry. Everything you're going through right now is preparing you for a dimension of God's presence that will blow your mind. The intimacy you're developing with Him in the secret place will manifest as power in the public place. The character He's building in you during the hidden years will sustain you during the harvest years. And when the fullness of your calling manifests, when you step into the assignment that's been waiting for you, when you see the lives transformed, the chains broken, the captives set free, the kingdom advanced, you'll understand why the preparation had to be this intense. You'll look back at this season and thank God that He didn't shortcut the process. You'll be grateful for the isolation that protected your anointing. You'll appreciate the warfare that taught you how to fight. You'll value the sacrifice that taught you surrender. You'll honor the weight that developed your character. The calling you carry is heavier than you think, yes. But chosen one, you're stronger than you know. The God who called you is faithful. The one who began this good work in you will complete it. And the weight you're carrying right now, it's shaping you into a weapon of righteousness that the kingdom of darkness will regret ever provoking. So lift your head, square your shoulders, take a deep breath. You were chosen for this. You were built for this. And the grace to carry what God has assigned you is already inside you, waiting to be activated by your obedience. The best is yet to come. The glory is closer than you think, and everything you've been through is about to make sense in ways that will leave you in awe of God's faithfulness. Stay faithful. Stay focused. Stay in the fight. Your calling is heavy, but your God is mighty. And together, you're about to shift the atmosphere in ways that will echo in eternity. If this message strengthened you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with another chosen one who needs to hear this today. Drop a comment below and let me know which section hit you the hardest. And remember, you're not alone in this. We're all carrying heavy callings, but we're carrying them together. Keep pushing. Your breakthrough is coming.